Hello there, live from Ottawa, Ontario. We are making history, Canada, and I'm coming to you live from Ottawa, Ontario, and I'm under Margaret Meyer on Facebook, but please call me Maggie. And you can let me know in the comments if you are watching live or if you're watching a replay, and I'd love to know as this thing starts to circulate, where do you live? For those of you who don't know me, I've been an entrepreneur my entire life for the last 20 years. I help people get more mental resiliency, especially in these times, energy, focus, memory, so they can become more productive and achieve their own dreams as they're aging without prescription medications. I've also been working with quite a few people right now who want to stop their addictions, and I can help you stop that permanently. Now, for the past 2 years, we've all been under lockdown. We've all gone through so much. I'm sure you can relate. Everybody has a story, right? You have your story. You've been through things with your family. There's been a lot of division, a lot of segregation, mental health issues. I mean, we have really gone through it. And now this huge trucker convoy is coming into Ottawa, which is causing a lot of excitement, but also some consternation and some anxiety amongst people because we have never, ever had such an event happen in our lives. And for the past 2 years, I've been working in the area more of human rights and the law. I'm not a lawyer or paralegal, but I've been learning a lot about these illegal government mandates and restrictions that we've all been suffering through, and also how to legally help businesses stay open. So, as you know, the truckers are on their way, and I've heard lots of different numbers between 22 kilometers to 55 kilometers length of trucks to even 95. So we'll see, over the next few days, they're going to start really coming in tomorrow, and we'll just see how it goes. So they're coming from the west, the east, the south, as you know. And we, believe it, are you ready for this, guys? Canada is actually on news channels around the world, including Fox News, mainstream media news in the United States, and even Donald Trump Jr. chimed in saying that the United States could benefit from having a truck convoy. So on a more serious note, I want to talk a little bit about the politics of this, because we are being given a lot of misinformation by the media, and I really feel that the media is already now in the news trying to stoke fear and anxiety. I've heard that there's people downtown. I mean, they're wondering what's going to happen, right? All these people coming into town. And I want to assure you, because I have been in touch with the convoy organizers, that this is a very peaceful protest. Now, this is not a right-wing movement. This is not a left-wing movement. And this is not an anti-jab movement, despite what the media is telling you. The truckers are protesting for Canadian law, because it's not being upheld in this country, and they are protesting against all illegal mandates, which includes the jab, the masks, illegal restrictions, etc. 65 countries around the world are sending their love to us right now, so we are being watched. This is a historic event. Now, like I said, some people are feeling a little bit of anxiety and trepidation, which is normal. It's, there's a lot of change, there's a lot of challenges, but I really encourage you to reduce that fear, calm yourself down by whatever means possible. And if you're watching the media and you're starting to feel that anxiety, that energy of intention is coming from that media, then just shut it down, okay? Now, I know a lot of you have been calling me and asking me, what do they want? Why are these truckers coming here? What is this protest all about? So it is anti-government mandates. Now, believe it or not, a lot of these truckers that are coming, they've also been jabbed. This is not an anti-jab protest. They just believe, like many other Canadians across this country, that we have the right to choose whether or not to get the jab, okay? That's a basic human right in our country. And that if there's coercion, in other words, you're being forced to get it, or you don't eat, or you don't have a job, okay, that's against the law. That is medical coercion. Many people also don't know that a lot of the mandates that have come down, okay, mandates can become laws, but all these mandates that have been coming down from the Trudeau government, They are all illegal. And so they haven't been able to institute it from the federal government. So they're telling everybody, especially businesses, oh, you have to do this, you have to do that, you have to do this, okay? But a lot of businesses don't even know that they're breaking the law. They're breaking the law in terms of our Charter of Rights and Freedoms. They're going against our Bill of Rights, going against the Nuremberg Code. They're even going against the Criminal Code. And I find it really ironic now that we have Canadian politicians all commenting right now on the human rights of what's happening with the Ukraine, and yet the majority of them are not speaking up on behalf of Canadian law and our human rights. Number two, the truckers want their MOE, which is a memorandum, or MOU, their memorandum of understanding. They want more signatures, okay? They have this memorandum of understanding which deals with all these illegal mandates and restrictions, and we need way more signatures. I think it's up to 112,000, but we definitely need way more from a political perspective, because they're going to give it to the Senate. There are many people in the Senate I'm hearing that do not agree with what Trudeau's doing, but Trudeau keeps blocking them. So if they can get more signatures showing that Canadians want change, which they definitely do, then the Senate can take more action. So in the comments below, there'll be a link for the Memorandum of Understanding. I strongly suggest you sign it and read it, share it. We need more signatures. So basically the Senate needs more heat. They need to be pushed more democratically, peacefully, and they'll be able to do more. Next week, England, as you probably know, no more mask mandates, no more illegal restrictions, no more passports. Now, Trudeau was sworn in. When he was first sworn in, he pled allegiance to the Queen, right? Being dictated by the Queen, which means then Canada needs to also be following suit with what England is doing. But of course, Trudeau and the media are going really, really hard, trying to scare us more, all these case counts, like all these people are dying, now encouraging you to wear these, N95 masks, etc. So my question to you is, why are we letting the Trudeau government impose their will over our doctors, our lawyers, our scientists, our own human rights, our medical rights, the media, and the law for their political agenda? That is not Trudeau's job. That is not any Canadian government's place to subvert our laws or create illegal mandates. So something else is going on here, and you need to question that. There is a larger agenda at play. Now, going back to the truck drivers, Canada-Unity.com has been organizing the West End for the Convoy. They have made it very clear from day one, it is a very, very peaceful protest. And one of the organizers has even stated, Tamara Leash, who's been traveling and she's been doing Facebook Lives on this, that if there's any issues with truckers, you are to write down, their truck number and report them immediately to the police. That's something that's really important, and we're all sharing that right now. Now let's talk about this weekend. So, who knows about parking? Definitely don't be going downtown. You're gonna have to find alternative ways to get down there. There's gonna be so many people. There can be potentially skirmishes. I've attended quite a few protests in Ottawa and Montreal, and I have seen, big egos, or somebody gets upset about something. People are very stressed right now. People's mental health is not the best also, and their anger goes up very quickly. I'm sure you can relate to that, and your family can relate to that. So what we're saying is, if in fact you see any potential skirmish or problem, back away from it energetically. Just back away from it and get on your phone and just start taping it. Last time I was at a protest in Ottawa, there were these two groups that were really starting to get into it, and I could really see energetically that it was getting very heated, and then more people wanted to join it and get involved, okay? That's not what we do. So you have to be very, very focused about that and just get your camera, but move away. Do not participate. Now, remember when I told you that what the truckers want? So they want all illegal mandates removed, okay? So the media has been saying, well, it's just the truckers don't want the illegal mandates or the jab, to have to go to be able to work. No, this is for every single person in the country, and they've made it clear they don't want to leave until that is addressed and accepted. Now, I want to talk a little bit about the media, because there's been so much censorship. There has been so much suppression of information the last 2 years, and this has become a huge problem. This is a big problem for a democracy. A democracy demands that we have different opinions, that people have the right to speak out without fear of losing their job, without fear of losing their medical license, like doctors are. There are doctors and nurses on the front line right now that are seeing the negative side effects of the jab, and they're not allowed to speak out. Nurses have to sign an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement in hospitals. Okay, that is not a democracy, that is a dictatorship. Now, with regards to the media, just to give you an example, Post Media, which is a right-wing organization, they run the National Post and the Toronto Sun. They received $35 million. $35 million last year alone, all right? So it's interesting because they used to call any handout welfare slackers, but now they're getting handouts and they're actually telling their investors that government funds, your money is now a key pillar of their business strategy. So that's an issue, because that means, and we all know that saying, right? You know that saying, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. If you're getting all this money from the government, there is no incentive, there is no way you can criticize government policy because they've got you in your pocket with our money. So we're giving them money to silence us, to enforce censorship and not allow us to speak out, which is against, of course, our freedom of expression, our rights in the Charter, as well as our Bill of Rights. In 2020, CBC Radio Canada supposedly generated $504 million. Well, it's a Crown corporation, depends mostly on funding from us, from the federal government. They didn't generate that. They too are also getting a lot of money. And I've just noticed every time, it's all about cases. It's all about fear. It's never about any hope. It's never about any, oh, God forbid we talk about alternative treatments. Right? If people do get sick, why don't we focus on that? The minute they're sick, let's look at alternative treatments. If the family or the person that's sick wants that, why can't they have that? So it's really important because families have a very difficult time making very important decisions if we're not getting information. We need the media to allow us to speak out more, right? To have our opinion. We need more scientific debate about this. Look at what happened with Dr. Robert Malone. He's the inventor of the mRNA. And he has been advocating against the jab for children. You probably have never even heard of him because they won't allow him to even go on the media. Well, we're paying for it, guys, so we need to have greater scientific debate. Now, for the last 2 years, the media has created a lot of division, a lot of fear, and we've really gone against each other. We've seen it with, families not talking to each other, neighbors not talking to each other, kids not talking to their parents, custody issues with kids. I mean, it's just been a nightmare. We need to stop that, all right? We need to come together as a country. What happened to Canada in the last 2 years? What's happened to us? Again, I want to talk a little bit about the media, and there's been criticism around the GoFundMe page. Some of you know that this Convoy has raised, they're almost up to, I think, $5 million, and they've raised it in about a week and a half, which has flipped out the Trudeau government. So Trudeau, I understand, officials there were trying to stop people from being able to contribute. They can't really do that, but the GoFundMe people decided to slow it down. And then there's been, questions around what the money is being used for. And according to my sources, they have a financial committee. They're going to use the money to pay for truckers' fuel costs, which are super expensive, thanks to additional taxes by our federal government. And any other remaining funds will go to the Canadian Veterans Association of Canada. Now, I'm not involved in any of the funding. I'm just trying to share some information with you, okay? But I'm just going to read something to you, how the media behaves in terms of even discussing a GoFundMe campaign. Now, I get it. You raise that kind of money, there better be some financial due diligence behind it. They have an accounting company, a financial committee, a board, all kinds of things. So they're doing their due diligence. And there's nothing worse than attacking people when they haven't even received the money because you don't even know, they need to disperse it first before you start attacking them. So the media just jumps on that angle right away, which causes issues. Then we think, oh, it's, what are they doing? So one of the media people wrote, you know, this GoFundMe campaign is raising money so that the anti-jab, the anti-V, I can't say the word or I'll get kicked off Facebook, can continue their intimidation campaign against Canadians to try to force our acquiescence to their right-wing conspiracy delusions and extremist anti-democratic objectives. These truckers have families, okay? They're coming all this way. They're leaving their kids behind, their families behind. They're not working. They are not these crazy right-wing extremists. Look at all the people here in Ottawa that are supporting them and across the country. They're ordinary individuals, ordinary Canadian citizens. The division of this country has been getting worse by both the Trudeau government and the media, and I'm sure you've witnessed it regularly. I want to talk a little bit about Walmart, because we just heard in Walmart right now, imagine, in Quebec, Walmart is putting up cubicles. The minute you walk in, and if you're unjobbed, you have to sit in this little cubicle while everybody else goes and does their shopping. So you're publicly humiliated, you're publicly shamed, and then you wait for someone to get your diapers for your kids or your medical, your medicines, whatever. This is insane. What kind of country are we living in? How can this be happening? We need to stand up against this. I just came back from Quebec. I was there not too long ago with a friend of mine. I'm telling you, it was like living in a police state. This is insane. I want to talk about kids right now because I've been dealing with families and their children. We are traumatizing our children, forcing them to wear masks all day long, exhausting them, scaring them. Oh, if you take off your mask, grandma might die. They are going to need some serious mental health help because of this. I'll give you an example of a beautiful young girl I worked with not too long ago. Beautiful young, really smart, 16-year-old girl. And she has chosen, which is her legal right, to not do this job. And we also know children, young people, have such a small likelihood of even getting sick, all right? They don't need to get the jab. They don't need to wear these masks. They need to be in school. And she literally was put up in front of her whole classmates, and she was publicly shamed by her teacher for not being jabbed. Is this the kind of Canada that you want? Is this the kind of classroom education that you want for your kids? Is this the future that you want? Look what the Toronto Star wrote not too long ago. I couldn't believe this one. 1 out of every 4 Canadians supports jail time for the unjabbed. Okay, that's 25%. But they could have flipped it and said 75% of Canadians do not support jail time for the unjabbed. Do you see where I'm going? I want to talk about that whole concept of those people. We've heard a lot about those people being really isolated because they've made this decision not to get the jab. A lot of them have done their research, their homework. It is a medical experiment, okay? It's an experimental gene therapy. We've never, ever, ever injected this into human beings, ever. And those people could be a child like yours, someone at CHEO who has cancer, or another person who's been dealing with Alzheimer's, or my mother who's chosen not to do it, who's 90 years old, who's blind and can barely walk. That's who those people are. They're somebody's son, somebody's daughter, somebody's mom, someone's dad. I want to come to Trudeau's criminal investigation right now, organized by the RCMP. You saw that. Trudeau calling the unjabbed racist, misogynist, even terrorists, creating so much hatred and really fomenting even more segregation and hatred and creating a two-tiered society. The RCMP has received so many citizen complaints about Trudeau's hate speech that they've actually set up a specific office dedicated to the investigation. So now there is a criminal investigation underway regarding Trudeau's hate speech. I'm going to leave you the number, and I encourage you to add your voice to fellow Canadians who are rightfully complaining about his most recent hate speech. Trudeau has been muzzling our speech, our free speech, our rights to freedom of expression, destroying our mobility rights, the right to move, the right to to travel inside Canada, outside of Canada, coming back to Canada. And then finally, I want to talk about the economy and the impact on small businesses, because your economic future is tied to all of this. The government has come down so hard the last 2 years on small businesses. Okay, we have lost over 158,000 businesses in this country, 67,000 of them in Ontario. The Canadian Federation of Independent Business, that's where the stats come from, the next 2 months are very critical, and this is very important. If we don't change this and remove all illegal mandates and all illegal restrictions, we are going to lose 200,000 businesses in this country. 200,000. Families are going to suffer. Families are losing their homes. Families are getting kicked out of places, right? That have worked so hard, who's often, they don't get a pension. They have to create their own, and they do it with their business. We have such a fragile economy right now. We've got inflation going up. It's way above 4% for a lot of products. We've got supply chain problems. We have a shortage of workers because of these mandates, right? We're interfering with the free flow and movement of goods across provinces, across international boundaries with Canada, the United States. We cannot afford to do this. And the longer the mandates are in place, the worse it's going to get. Look how prices have really gone up. And I've talked to, some people I talk to are really struggling, okay? They live on KD, craft dinner. And they're saying, it's gone from, $147 to 2 something. 30% of the population of this country cannot afford any increases because they're on fixed income. We have a lot of elderly on fixed income. They were just talking in the House of Commons that some elderly person was eating cat food. Is this the kind of future you want? Is this the kind of country you want? We can't have a healthy democracy when the rule of law is not being followed. It creates a very toxic, dysfunctional, anti-democratic, very repressive, very fear and hate-mongering dictatorship. And that's how we've been living the last 2 years. People's health is declining, suicide rates are going up, our youth are struggling, small businesses are going bankrupt. Now, this Saturday and Sunday, Saturday's a big day for us. Saturday, lots of speakers and a protest march. I'm not sure what time. And then Sunday is prayer day with Pastor Hildebrand. And this man has gone through a lot as a pastor, just trying to stand up for religious freedoms. Imagine not being able to pray, not being able to go to church. It's just crazy. I saw recently a video from a police officer, and I don't know if you've heard of this, Police on Guard for Thee. This is active and retired police officers who also are in agreement with eliminating these illegal mandates. And there was a beautiful young woman, a police officer, who I could tell in front of her, she was in front of the Facebook and she was really scared, but she was saying that she was going to come and speak on Sunday, on behalf of Police on Guard for Thee. Well, of course it went viral, and then the Durham Police Department came out and said, no, we don't support this. So I don't know if she's going to be speaking or not. I pray that she can, but we'll have to just see. And I know, because I have been party to a lot of different discussions across the country. I've been part of Google Meets from the beginning of this, and there are groups, like police officers are in a group, nurses are in a group, doctors are in other groups, and there are a lot of people that do not agree at all with this, but they've just been so censored or so afraid of losing their job. Come on. You can't stand up and have an opinion anymore? Really? Is this the country that you want to live in? And I know there's teachers, doctors, nurses, hospital administrators, police officers, bureaucrats, citizens. A lot of people are sitting on the fence. It is time now to really make a stand. Okay, we need to uphold the laws in our country. That's what makes a strong democracy. So I'm encouraging you to step outside your comfort zone. Feel the fear, but do the right thing. It is extremely, extremely critical. Now, we are in an information war right now. This is really what's going on. So there are people in our city, you know, bureaucrats, government people, security people, police officers who really support us, who really, really support us. But there are others that do not, okay? And it's like anything. People don't like change. They have vested interests. They have financial interests. They're going to fight like hell to make sure that nothing gets changed. So we have to be aware of this. We have to be aware that those people, which includes the media right now, I'm not talking alternative media, I'm just really talking about legacy media, mainstream media, they are going to try to create a lot of fear, division, misinformation, right? Blaming the protesters, blaming the truckers, right? The key is when you're downtown and you're participating, stay calm. Really set that intention that this is going to be very calm, it's going to be very peaceful, we have the right to stand up. And remember the intention of the truckers. These truckers are coming from miles and miles all over the place without their families to support you, to support our new economic and political future that we so desperately need. And remember too, that there are other truckers right now who really support us, jabbed and unjabbed. They're not coming because they're too busy driving around to ensure that we have our food and our supplies. So kudos to them. Get out and support your truckers. I know that there's groups in different areas right now. I don't know how long. The truckers are starting on Wellington. They're going to start parking on Wellington and then going down all the side streets. But I don't know how far out east and west they're going to go. But don't be surprised maybe if they're on your street. So we're encouraging people to help accommodate them. Truckers need showers. They need food. They need some support. So I really encourage you to do that, to learn more about what's happening. Change is coming. Change is challenging. But we do have this. We need to really bring about some serious change in this country so we can get back on our feet, right? Get connected again as Canadians used to be and get this economy moving. And never, ever again let any other government destroy our rights, our freedoms, which is very important to hold because there are many other countries that would just die to have the rights that we have. So remember, go and read and sign the Memorandum of Understanding below and share it. Let's get our power back in very peaceful means with a peaceful protest. But tomorrow, I guarantee you, it's a new dawn. It's a new day. I love you, Canada. Let's do this.